I figured I'd put together a nice, comprehensive top 5 list of who I feel are the 5 top black characters in gaming. Now, I'm ready to hear feedback and comments and people with their own list and things like that to interject with. This is just a list that I populated for some time now, and I thought to myself, you know what? In terms of impact, I'm thinking impact with this. Honorable mention would be motherfuckers like Afro Thunder from Ready to Rumble. Because, I mean, Ready to Rumble is a fucking great game. I don't care. Most people don't even think about Ready to Rumble. I feel like it's one of those games that definitely deserves a sequel. Because how many boxing games are there out now? And if you think about those boxing games, how many of them are like cartoony and wacky like Ready to Rumble was? So I'm just saying. So I throw Afro Thunder up there as a honorable mention. And I was gonna mention another one, but I feel like if I do that, that's gonna spoil the list. So let's just jump into the list now then. So, top 5 black characters in gaming. Number 5 would be Eddie Gordo from the Tekken series. Now, Eddie Gordo debuted in Tekken 3. He's very much interesting because as far as in gaming, he's the first capoeira fighter that I've ever seen in a popular video game. So that really took that particular fighting style and made it a unique offering, and you did it with a Afro-Brazilian character in Eddie Gordo. I mean, my man looked like Jamie Foxx with dreads if he was like chilling on the beach somewhere in Sao Paulo. But what made it super dope was, and this will show you how fucking old I was, back in the arcades, when you had them quarters in your pocket, ready to get it popping, okay, you pick Eddie, maybe even honorable mention, even though he's not blacking on this list, Warong, okay? You pick any of the motherfuckers that mostly have kick combos, you beat most people's asses unless they really know what they're doing. Because Eddie was able to chain, and still is, I'm sure, able to chain so many fucking combo hits in such a short amount of time. It was like a lot of like half circle rotations with X and circle, and just it was crazy the fucking moves you can pull off with Eddie Gordo. It was fucking ridiculous. Then on top of that, he had an alter ego named Tiger, which was like some dude in bell-bottom pants, platform shoes, and a fucking fro with some shades on. I don't know what the fuck that was about. Anyone care to give me some backstory on that? Feel free to do so in the comments. We'll talk about it. Number 4 was Lance Vance from GTA Vice City. I said Lance Vance is huge because if you think about how big of a game Vice City was, it was the next step in Rockstar's graphics for the GTA series. I mean, Liberty City was big, but Vice City was even bigger. And Lance Vance was like the guy that you kind of were looking to model yourself after in the game, but then you came up with him and ran up with him as Tommy Vercetti as you guys created, you know, the whole crime syndicate that you guys are putting together. I mean, spoilers fucking alert, okay, of like more than 10 years at this point, motherfucker, if you haven't played it. But at some point, as you are moving among the ranks, you and Lance do have a falling out, a bit of a power struggle, and at some point, Lance double crosses you to your old crew up in Liberty City, and you got to put Lance down. So I get it, but without Lance, there would have been no surviving the first pearls that you did as Tommy Vercetti. Okay, first of all, that fucking suit made you want to get that same type of suit so you could be just as fly as Lance. Plus, let's also keep it fucking real. That fucking Infernus was popping. When you saw him pull up in that white Infernus, motherfucker, you wanted an Infernus. Okay, so I feel like Lance Vance was huge. There was no Malibu Club. There was none of that shit without Lance Vance. And also a nice fun fact, the guy who did the voice acting work for Lance Vance was also the co-lead detective in the show Miami Vice. So, yeah, a little bit of fun facts for you, in case you didn't know that. Number 3 would have to be Augustus Cole from motherfucking Gears of War series. I say that just because if you think about the Gears of War series, number 1 has to probably be up there as far as top series of all time for the Xbox. So I feel like not including Cole as a prominent figure on this list would be fucking egregious. Okay, because like I said, if you think about top series for the Xbox, you think Halo, you throw Gears almost directly right after it, among a bunch of other offerings that, you know, are all debatable. But either way, Cole is one of the prominent figures of the cogs during that whole Gears of War story, and he was kind of like just the overall life, the heart and soul of the team. It's like everybody was so fucking serious and brooding at what they were dealing with. Cole was almost sadistically having a great fucking fucking time stomping motherfuckers and blowing their heads off. He just was. And with the woo-woo and all that other crazy ad-libs and shit that he would drop, like, he was just the life of the party. Marcus Phoenix was just fucking serious and brooding and like the Steven Seagal type trying to get through shit. Cole was just a wild man. And trust me, so anytime I ever played that shit and I ever went to Horde or any of those other online offerings, motherfucker, you were Cole. Always trying to fuck people up with that Lancer. So I'm sorry, but yeah, I feel like you gotta give Cole his well-deserved. You gotta put him at number 3. That's just all due respect to him. Then number 2. This one's a little heavy, so I'll try to be as sharp, succinct, and concise as humanly possible. You gotta give this to Aya, aka Amunet, of the Assassin's Creed series. Number 1, she is referenced as early as Assassin's Creed 2, which is probably any fan of the Assassin's Creed series' favorite Assassin's Creed, which is number 2, okay, with Ezio Auditore da Firenze, okay. When you go into spoilers, again, more than fucking 10 years, get your shit right, about maybe 10 years on the nose. When you get to a certain part in the end game, you go into the Assassin's Tomb where you try to go get Altair's legendary assassin's armor, and you notice all these different like monuments to the assassins over the ages of time, and you see that one of the earliest, if not the earliest assassin, is one named Amunet, the hidden one, and how she pretty much killed Cleopatra with an Egyptian asp. So that was back then. Now taking it to the latest game, which its iteration came out about last year, and Assassin's Creed Origins, you had it to where you played Aya for about maybe 30% of the game. Now granted, you played Bayek, and you're probably thinking, well, why not Bayek on this list? And the reason why I'll tell you is this. And again, spoilers in case you don't want to hear this shit. Okay, in case you didn't play the game. But as the story progresses and you go along, you come to see that their relationship at some point gets very complex. They're all to the mission of revenge because they lost their son. And to make a long story short, they complete their mission, they both survive, but they ultimately go their separate ways. Bayek is completely set up on trying to restore order and peace and maintain the lands of Egypt to his old village of Siwa and all across the board. As far as Aya, Amunet is concerned, she's more so concerned with trying to look at the larger picture, which is, well, we need an order that are always going to be here to make sure that we keep those in power in check, because absolute power corrupts absolutely. So her whole thing was as well, we need to maintain this order that we have. So she called it the Hidden Ones, and the Hidden Ones would ultimately become the Brotherhood of Assassins. So to make a long fucking story short, Aya is pretty much the mother of all assassins, because she was the one that actually put the Assassin Brotherhood together. She was a co-founder. So yes, in conclusion, because I had to go ahead and get a female on the list, I had to get a woman on the list, I figure Aya is the most prominent black female character in gaming, period. She was featured in the first Assassin's Creed 2 with Ezio, and she finally got her story told along with Bayek and Assassin's Creed Origin. That's why she's so high on this motherfucking list. And that's what brings me to number 1, because this motherfucker was played by many, beloved by many, and definitely took advantage of all the new features, the new accoutrements, and everything that came with playing him. And that's motherfucking CJ from Grove Street from motherfucking Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Why I say that shit? Simple. You able to dual wield guns. You able to get yourself tattooed. You able to get fucking shredded, or just be a thick boy. You were able to fucking swim. You were able to customize your clothes. You were able to do a bunch of shit with CJ that you really weren't able to do with other iterations previously in the Grand Theft Auto games. So I feel like CJ is most prominent because he was the protagonist of the story. And San Andreas is one of like the most successful GTA games. So thusly, in fucking conclusion, I figure he's probably the most popular black character in gaming. If you think about it, again, San Andreas was a great leap from Vice City, and it was the leap before we went to Grand Theft Auto 4 and 5, and again, it was featuring CJ from the Grove. You were able to have all those customization features. You were this gangbanger who was simply trying to go ahead and turn your hood around, get the bullshit that was going on in your whole backstory straightened out, and yes, you just so happen to be a gangbanger from the hood. But guess what? Still, most popular character, I'm sorry, it was definitely fucking CJ. Like, absolutely. Everybody was playing CJ the gangbanger from Grove Street. So, that's what I gotta say as far as my little iteration of top 5 black characters in gaming.